Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh?
Yep, still don't have the dog camera back up and running yet, unfortunately. How's it going, everybody? Here's another day, everybody. Same goals, same everything. All right, we get into a habit of these days when the show starts off, we're at zero for a long time. So it'd be great if we could have one of those shows where it was just sort of we continue on, all right, not waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. It used to be where people would at the beginning, before the even show started, we're on a good pace, you know. I guess my work just hasn't been good enough. Let's see. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch of these different articles that came out today. Plus, I'll be live streaming the hearing on Thursday at 8 in the morning or 7:30. I don't know what time I'll come on. Maybe 7 in the morning. I might come on early in the morning and you know, the hearing starts at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, my time. So that should be good. And if you notice, a lot of the people and family members are saying what I've been telling you guys a long time, that, you know, while I don't like the plea deal for my own, you know, like, wow, I wanted to cover the trial situation. You know, the family members, I think, it's a blessing to them. Maybe not Steve Gonzalez. I think like he does, but I even think it'll benefit him in some way. You know, like the thing is they don't have to keep going and wondering and waiting and, you know, for every hearing, etc. Yeah. And I put out a video today. I don't know if you guys saw it. It didn't do great either. I mean, it did like mediocre. So I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, we kind of talked about that on a show the other day, where Elliot Rodger had mentioned a person named Maddie in his manifesto, and throughout the manifesto, it started off talking about their childhood, but then at the end he hated Maddie. I mean, he literally put her in the same group of the people that he wanted to kill. All right, so, you know, and then you look at Coburger. You know, it seems like it'd be pretty difficult for him to look up a Maddie, but I'm wondering if when he, you know, he probably studied, if he is Papa Rogers, which it sounds like a lot of people, you know, even people in the know seem to say that a lot. If he is Papa Rogers, then he would have obviously read the manifesto at some point. And maybe when he stumbled upon a beautiful blonde named Maddie, perhaps at that, but they don't, you know what? The thing is, I don't think they ever met at the Mad Greek. I don't believe that, because they've said that there's no connection between them. No, that's not the term. There was no direct connection between them. So I think when people, the fact that they said there's no direct attention. Hey, thanks, Richard Watts. I guess you're the only one that heard the start of this show. Thanks. No, there's no direct connection, but to me that means that there is other connections, not direct, like Coburger talked to Maddie. That type of thing. Yeah, that would be a direct connection, right? So that obviously doesn't exist. Now maybe he went to the Mad Greek, but perhaps there was a different waitress and he sort of figured out who that person was. But it might have been when he found out that her name was Maddie, somehow, it was like, oh my God, that's a sign. It's a sign for me to take action on her, because Papa Roger was, hated somebody named Maddie, and it was, brought up many, many times in the manifesto. So anyways, I guess we can just go through these different articles. I'm not sure what that is. Why I have that one. Let's see. But hey guys, while we're doing this show, if you're out there and you have the ability to help support this channel relies on the generosity of the people watching to make it. Okay, there is no ad revenue on the live streams, so it's up to you guys. And we have the end of the month coming up now. We're halfway through, basically, and would like to keep on trucking. We're currently at $2 by Richard Watts, and that just isn't going to do it. All right, here we go. So this one says, Bryan Kohberger sentencing set for July 23rd. What to know ahead of court. So I guess we'll look at that one first. Bryan Kohberger is set to be sentenced this week after accepting a plea agreement to avoid the death penalty. Kohberger is admitted to the November 13, 2022 murder of 4 University of Idaho students. Yep. The sentencing hearing in the case of State versus Coburger is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. Mountain on Wednesday, July 23rd at the Ada County Courthouse in Boise. The proceedings will be publicly live streamed with an overflow room, so this will be obviously streamed, available at the courthouse for additional viewers. Why do you need an overflow room? Well, I guess if people travel and they can't get a seat, they want to be able to watch it. But you can just watch it on your phone or something. IdahoNews.com will carry the live stream here on our YouTube page. On whose YouTube? Oh wait, okay, this is Como News, and they're just saying they're going to stream it too. The plea agreement, which came as a surprise just weeks before jury selection was set to begin, appears to have split the approval of 4 victims, but it sounds like now that the Gonzalez's are the only ones that are still upset, because I think Xana Kernodle's family now thinks that it's probably better this way. Let's see. Yeah, so Kaylee Gonzalez's family has been the most vocal in their opposition to the plea deal, saying the prosecutors in the state of Idaho let them down. Public seating for those attending in person will be first come, first served. All right, so you got that, in case you wanted to go. And then this one. Did Bryan Kohberger take a memento from the murder scene. I don't know. Those are pretty cool. You ever seen them when they stuff them into like a Coke bottle? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Did Bryan Kohberger take a memento from the murder scene? Eyewitnesses say killer had container in his hands as he left the house. You know, I mean, I guess we've all thought that he brought whatever container with him and he left with it. You know, like that was something he brought in. But man, what if it is something that he took, I guess? That's sort of interesting. I don't know. Bryan Kohberger did not leave the home where the murder for University of Idaho student simply empty-handed, according to one of the surviving roommates. Yeah, you know, it was interesting. I got my not haircut. I went to the dentist today, and I said, "Hey, are you into true crime?" And then we started talking, and then, you know, it's interesting because she is into true crime and she listens to a podcast, but you know, obviously the the people that she listens to are also like the pro-burger types, you know, like, hey, there's something weird going on. You know, she didn't really know it all, the stuff, but she's like, well, yeah, what about the roommates, man? Like, some people think that they're... And I was just like, oh, man. Yeah, that's the thing, is the case is so simple and obvious, but there's a lot of people out there that, you know, they had to entertain their viewers by having a specific view, and I can tell you that I'll never do that here. If I don't believe in something, I'm not going to pretend just to get views. Maybe I should do that because I probably have a lot more support tonight, and you know, things like that, because we're still you know, languishing, moving into the show. Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson shared his new information in court just moments after Coburger confessed to those murders, and said that it came from an eyewitness who found herself just inches away from the man who stabbed her friends to death as he exited their office campus home the early morning hours of November 13th. Yeah. He did not reveal what Coburger was carrying other than it was a container. But his decision to include the detail in his brief remarks outlining the crime suggests it's relevant to the case prosecutors were building against it. God, I mean, who doesn't want to know the answer to that question? Convicted murder. By the way, that Patterson book is out. I have the audio version. So when I'm doing my walks, I'll start listening. Alright guys, when you're watching this show, if you have the ability to help support the channel, I would really appreciate it. Like I said a minute ago, the channel relies on the people watching to support it. You know, financially even, because my channel has donated $251,500 since January of 2020 to DNA Fund, a scholarship fund, $20,000 to Texas EquiSearch Plus. I mean, you know, 20 something, and NCMEC and RAIN. You know, we haven't been able to give it quite as much this year because the support has dropped off because of the myriad of other channels out there who just do the sensationalistic takes, etc., where we actually try to figure out what actually happened in cases. Yeah, so if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. All right. He did not reveal what Coburger was carrying other than it was a container. I don't know if it means that they had some, you know, they know exactly what the container was, etc. I mean, they could, but we don't know if they know that because they're just basing it on what Dylan Mortensen said. That container could also be, in part, why prosecutors were able to get Coburger to plead guilty. I mean, how do we know that? I mean, he pled guilty because of the container, though by Idaho law, he also committed that crime by entering a home with the intent to commit a felony. There were 2 other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep during the course of the murders, and one of those roommates was awake. That would be Xander Kernodle. He continued, she looked out her door, not knowing what was going on. That's Dylan. So he could be talking about Dylan or Xana. She looked out her door, not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black. Thanks, Linda Howe. With a black, it says back, but it's a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. Yeah, so if he says some sort of container, does that sound like he knows what the container is? You know what I mean? Like, People Magazine here is pretending that this is like a pivotal point of the case, but he doesn't even know what it is. He's like, it's some sort of a container. They sort of disprove their thesis. Don't you agree? Hey, thank you. At Lexus Staff, who sent a gift of a membership to Cinnamon Girl. You don't agree? So you think that he knows exactly what that container is? I don't think so at all. Yeah, except I know, Linda, but that doesn't happen. And since they don't do it, then we're just really, I don't know. It's tough. It's been tough. All right. He continued. She looked out her door, and that says back balaclava. That comment told police. She then watched Coburger exit the house through a sliding glass door in the kitchen, the same way prosecutors suspect he entered the residence. Yeah, right through that door. And right, you can't really see it. It's just around that corner over there. Now there's the patio there, just around that corner. But again, right here it says holding some sort of container in his hand, because that's all Dylan was able to provide. Right, he doesn't have any idea. You want to keep up with the latest crime coverage? Sign up for People. Right, yeah. So we can hear your wild speculation that he... Okay, listen. So according to People Magazine here, Kohberger... he pled guilty because of an item that the prosecutor has no idea what it was. A non-dissemination order restricting access to court files and prohibiting those involved in the case from speaking to the media, if possible, to know for certain what was in that container. Well, no, you don't know if it was a container of any kind. As a matter of fact, she didn't even say it was a container. She said it looked like something like a vacuum, a part of a vacuum or a vacuum. So you don't know if there was, I don't even know what that means, really. So when you say that there was something in the container, how do we know anything? He could have actually brought in the house a freaking... like a piece of luggage, for God's sakes, like something on a roller he set somewhere and then he, left with, who the hell knows, man? We don't know. I guess probably something like a, I was thinking like a medicine bag or a gym bag or something like that. Yeah, she said a vacuum part. So how would he get to a container that was holding something? So this is just like looking, so far in this article, it's looking for a story, making something up. I hope you guys don't ever think that I do that. Hey, thanks so much, Bozina. Yeah. Like today's story on Elliot Rogers, I think was actually, you know, I read in an article where he mentioned the name Maddie in there, and I was thinking, God, let me go look. And then we found all the different references, and I think that's pretty significant. I mean, it could even be a motive of some sort, right? Like, did Elliot Rodger actually, you know, or I guess Coburger, did he kill Madison Mogen as sort of a, you know, an homage to Elliot Rodger? You know, isn't that interesting? Well, he just, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that he mentioned what it was, right? I mean, not what it was, that he mentioned it. I think that's just, I mean, he could have just told the plain Jane version of the story, kind of like what he did, but he did put that factoid in there, but he didn't word it. He said some sort of object. Now, let me see, what was the actual... Oh wait, the container. No, that's what they said up there. There it is. Holding some sort of container in his hand. Well, why didn't he say exactly what that was if he knew what it was? Okay. A non-dissemination order restricting access to court files and prohibiting those involved in the case from speaking to the media makes it impossible to know for certain what was in that container, if there was anything in there at all, or if it even was a container. You know, I mean, it's like we don't even know. There are, however, a few possibilities that can be gleaned from the very limited information that has been released to the public. This is right out of Ancient Aliens playbook. The most likely explanation is that Coburger had the DoorDash order Xana Kernodle received just moment. Let's see. The most likely explanation is that Coburger had the DoorDash order Xana Kernodle received just moments before her death in his hands. Really? What do you mean the most likely? I mean, I guess anything is possible, but what do you mean? The DoorDash wasn't in a container. It was in a, you know, if you want to call a paper bag a container, sure. I don't think that's what Bill Thompson was talking about. Do you think that's the most likely thing? That somehow he grabbed the DoorDash order and he's the one that brought it back to the kitchen? This is awesome. This would explain why Thompson suggested in court that Coburger likely had not planned to kill Kernodle and boyfriend Ethan Chapin. How does that explain that? And only did so after accidentally running into Kernodle as he tried to exit the home from the third floor. So he went all the way over to the bedroom and then brought the... See, this, what it shows you here is that these people don't know the actual case, right? It's not like, oh, they crossed paths in the kitchen and he grabbed the bag and he went out the door. No, it's the reality is that you know, he made it all the way back over to Kernodle's room. So why would he grab the DoorDash bag? Why would he do that? What purpose would that be? I think if you get something in 12 minutes, you can eat your DoorDash meal. That's what it sounds like. And I bet you she ordered it herself, and Ethan was just sleeping. And she ate it and then brought the bag back to the kitchen like normal people do. And then after dropping off the bag, just like I have in my animation, you know, somewhere after that confronted Coburger not at her room. Or at least they visually spotted each other. That might be where the initial, you know, we don't know where the initial attack was. We've heard that there was some blood on the stairs going upstairs of Kernodle. So that would mean that maybe she got initially like hit first as she's running down the stairs, and then she made it all the way back to her room. Don't know. Alright, you guys, but if you're out there, if you can help support the channel, we need to keep moving this month, you guys. Very, very sluggish for some unknown reason. I guess I don't know what happened to all the old freaks, but it used to be different. Yeah, we've seen the bag in the kitchen, yeah. Well, it is Ancient Alien. You know, an ancient, unknown gem. See, Ancient Aliens, this is how Ancient Aliens works. By the way, we have a emoji for that specific guy. Whatever the hell that guy was. Look, it's right here, look. So if you're a channel member, you get to use the Ancient Aliens emoji there. Yeah, the old freaks. Remember that? Yeah, they used to be just, you know, it was amazing what we were doing here. Let's see. Yeah, so on Ancient Aliens, they'll do something like this. Let's see. The rock that was discovered could have been from planet Zeta Minor. And if that's true, then wouldn't it also be possible that aliens are the people who put that rock on planet Earth? And if that's true, is it possible that the stone itself is contributed to the advancement of mankind? And if that's true, then, you know, I mean, it's my God. You started off with a ridiculous premise, and then you built upon it with 14 if that's possibles. I mean, that's pretty wild, isn't it? Mindhunter new series. Might interview who? They're not going to interview Coburger. You can forget that. Okay. He is questioned with the name Lackluster Passion. You write for aliens on the side? No, because I don't actually cover cases like that, fool. That doesn't make any sense. Let's see, this one says, I don't think I'll stay up then. About 2 a.m. Australia time. Not worth it if we won't get asked. About what, Mr. Moody? What are you talking about, Mr. More Melody? I don't get it. I don't get it. What you're talking about, or... Man, is this going to be one of those troll nights, you know? Disruptive trolls, you know, over and over and over. You don't think he'll be asked anything? I don't know. I'm just going to cover it. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. Okay? I mean, I'm going to cover the, you know, the sentencing hearing. Okay? If you don't want to watch, then don't watch. That's as simple as that. We don't need to hear that you're not going to watch it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, unknown Jim. Yeah, well, I don't write for them, but yeah, like I said, there's often times where I misinterpret what people are saying in the chat. A lot of times people say I shouldn't even look at the chat, which probably is correct. I mean, the chat is probably one of the biggest disruptors of a show often, you know, but I like to communicate with the chat. And you know, so welcome Shelly 406. Yeah, he didn't look for it though. That's why he left it on purpose. My opinion, 100%. I'm not 100%, but like I'm like 60% that he left the knife sheath there intentionally. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean exactly, Jessica? He didn't say something that you can say exactly for. It doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, so he never went back and looked for it. He drove back at 9 to observe his greatness. You know, he wanted to. I bet you he was just drove by, and he was kind of surprised, perhaps, that there were no police there or anything like that. But he knew inside that he had killed those people, all 4 of them. Ethan Chapin, Xander Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez. All right. Can't focus on... I don't know what that means, Lexi staff. Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand is why people don't understand how it's very likely that he left the knife sheath there intentionally, and it's also very possible he left it there accidentally. Right, right. But that means he left it there on purpose. You get what I'm saying? Is that what you're saying, Jessica? No, I didn't. I know everybody wants... See, here's the thing, is Coburger himself would probably tell you that it fell out in a struggle, because if he admitted... I mean, I've already told you this. I mean, if he admits that he left it there intentionally as a calling card, that's admitting that he wasn't careful enough when he cleaned the knife sheath. That's the problem. We'll never actually get to know the answer to that question, because he did not go back looking for it. And if he was going to go look for it, he probably would have came back at 6 something in the morning instead of 9, when likely there'd be people moving around. Instead, he went there to look and observe and just be like, yeah, man, I killed... And he drove home. He's like an arsonist who drives back to watch the fire burn when he went there. Then he goes back home and he sat there and did his little thumbs up. Like, wow, I did it, man. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't affect the case, you know. Whether or not he left it accidentally or not. I just think it's funny when people are like, no way, man, it fell off. I mean, what do you mean, man? I can see either way. Either way is definitely a possibility. My opinion is that Kohberger is a certain type of a person, you know, that he just wanted to be like this really cool, perfect little serial killer, you know, leaving calling cards, and, you know, he's going to leave it at each scene. And he just missed that one little spot on the underside of the button snap. Thanks, Laura Ann. Let's see. The most likely explanation is that Kohberger had the DoorDash order Xana Kernodle received just moments before her death in his hands. No, he didn't. That's not the most likely. It's not anything. You know, watch, it'll turn out, oh, he had the DoorDash order. Yeah, but it wasn't a container. It was a bag. Wouldn't she have said he was carrying a paper bag? I mean, when does a paper bag look like a container? This would explain why Thompson suggested in court that Kohberger likely had not planned to kill Kernodle and boyfriend Ethan Chapin. See, that doesn't correlate to that. And only... I mean, see, what I don't like, this would explain. It doesn't explain anything. See, when people read these things, I think they just go, oh, that explains something, you know, and they just keep moving forward. But that's not, doesn't explain anything. This would explain why Thompson suggested in court that Kohberger likely had not planned to kill Kernodle and boyfriend Ethan Chapin, and only did so after accidentally running into Kernodle as he tried to exit the home. So you're saying that Thompson said that Coburger was carrying a bag to sort of explain why, how they ran into each other later. That's just garbage. Hey, thanks, Laura Ann. Laura Ann said, Greg, the only question I still have from all the coverage and reenactment is the dog Murphy. Oh, okay. You didn't ask a question, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, Murphy is, it barked. Whatever happened. That's not a significant element of the case, in my opinion. Sort of like Dylan and Bethany. Dylan's important because she is an eyewitness to a person that is Kohberger's general height, size, everything, and also the bushy eyebrows and a balaclava, one that he purchased in January of the same year. You said the same thing twice, Bab. It's like Thompson really doesn't understand the case. Well, I mean, he knows the outline of it for sure, because, I mean, when in that hearing, it was exactly what I've said on the show for basically 2 years, other than a couple, like, little things that he mentioned. But other than that, if you'd been on this channel, you would have went, oh, well, yeah, we already knew that, we knew that. The whole thing, and in the same order, everything. Yeah, but there isn't a Murphy question. Nobody asked the question. Yeah. No, you said he was locked up. That's not a question. Let's see. Okay, if you believe he was locked up. No, I mean, what is the question that you're asking, Laura? So far you have, your question is the dog Murphy? And then your next statement was, he was locked up. Okay, he was locked up. All right. So you're making a statement. I don't know what your question is, though. Right, that's what I'm saying, M10. It's like, I'm waiting for the question. There isn't even a question mark up there. Right. Huh? People don't read to consider and think. They read to reply. People don't listen to consider and think. They hear to reply. They hear to... So you're basically the same sentence, you just changed read and hear, I guess. I don't know. It just kind of seems like a useless second portion of that. Yeah, Murphy would have been in Kaylee's room, perhaps, and maybe the sliding glass door was open on the deck, and that's why you could hear the barking, although that would be on the other side of the house. So I don't know. I don't know. Apparently they did tests where the dog would have had to be barking outside, but maybe there was a window open, or who knows. I still don't know what the question was, though. Yeah, it's just the same statement, other than saying that one says they read to reply. People don't listen to let's see. People don't read to consider and think. They read to reply. People don't listen to consider and think. They hear to reply. I don't know what that means. It's just kind of the same. Hi, does it matter where Murphy... No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. So that's why... I mean, Murphy's one of those things that I don't spend... it'd be neat to sort of... Oh, wow, that's crazy. Look at that. Murphy was over here. But other than that... The Hulu documentary, they didn't cover it. Why was Murphy shut in one room? Well, I think she just... wanted, Kaylee was going to sleep in Madison's room and just kept Murphy in a room, I guess. If that's what your question is. If offhand, but I think... You still haven't asked the question, Laura. I was waiting for Laura to come back with the actual question, but I think it's sort of up there. Did Kaylee come out of her room? Okay. Yeah, well, Kaylee was in there. Here's how it went down. I mean, hold on. I got to get my timeline. But hey, guys, currently we are at 1/12, not even that, 1/8 of a goal tonight. So is there any chance, if you like the coverage that I've been doing on the case, if you have the ability to, I would appreciate your supporting the channel. I don't know. I don't want to keep having to say it 1,700 times so we can try to reach the goal. I just wish you guys would get it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's unbelievable. So look at right here. Kaylee calls Jack at 2:44, and that was actually for the 6th time. So they've been already trying to get a hold of him. And then Kaylee calls Jack for the final time at 2:52. So you're at that moment, literally just 34 minutes later, his car is driving around by Indian Hills Drive. See right there, 2:54 and then 3:26 Indian Hills Drive. Goes by Floyd's Cannabis. So 8 minutes after this, I mean, it's crazy when you look at this. 2:53, Madison calls Bethany right after Madison's final call to Jack. And then just 2 minutes after that, Coburger turns his phone off until 4:48. Isn't that interesting? Well, I think they, I don't know. Are you sure that's how it went down, Sparky? I mean, I think she's been looking for a deal this whole time. Yeah, I heard that the defense is the one that went. So I don't know what where you came up with that. So let's see, we have 1 gifted channel membership tonight. We have 0 coffees, and we're at $19.98. Does that make sense, everybody? I don't care if you don't think so, Birdie 284. Okay, it's just as possible that he left it intentionally as it was that it was knocked off in a fight. Absolutely, just as possible. There's no. Me either. I'm leaving. Gray thinks that the knife sheath was left intentionally, and I'm leaving now. Wow. It's like you guys want to build a team of people. You know what I bet? I bet the people, you know what I noticed? Is like the people who do these little side comments like that over and over and over again, even though we just talked about it about 20 minutes ago, are usually trolls from a particular place coming in, and they'll make the comments and then they band together. It's really pretty bizarre. Let's see. About a lot of super chats per question, and nobody insulted anything, Laura. See, Laura, you're being ridiculous. You never asked a question in there. Ah, jeez. Somebody block that person, or at least remove. I mean, where are the mods? I mean, you're gonna let Laura throw out some garbage like that? I mean, what a joke. We were looking for your question. I was waiting for you to ask it. Aren't we all just guessing? Yeah, we're just guessing, but it's weird how people go, there's, no, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Weird. Right. The reason I don't think he left it intentionally is because he was studying forensics. Right, and that's exactly why he would be able to leave it intentionally, Caligal. Hey, thank you, Deborah. How come? GHI, no bullshit discussion. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, well, the thing is when you say you don't think he would leave it intentionally because he was studying forensics, that's exactly, I mean, that's why he would think he would be able to leave it there. Because he knows what to try to do. And guess what? that knife sheath, other than having Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez blood on it, seemed to be pristine of single source DNA from anybody except on the underside of the button snap, a place that he probably forgot to clean. Isn't that amazing? Whew. Wow. Anyways, and I can also see it being knocked off in a fight in the room. Who knows? You know, I mean, either one is possible. What I don't like is when people can't be intellectually honest and say, yes, it's very possible that he left the knife sheath there intentionally as a calling card, as some serial killers do, because he wanted to be a really cool serial killer. Oh yeah, and also, maybe that's what I was going to read. So somebody sent me some information, apparently on one of the books. In the book, remember there was something regarding on 118, he circled something, and maybe that was in the book regarding Bundy. They sent me something. Well, let's see, it says, it's a popular theory, but over the years I read a lot about how certain, this is in the book, this is page 118, or I think it's 118. How certain types of killers like to leave clues and have themselves caught. They enjoy the limelight. We do have an incidence of individuals like that. The Son of Sam, because of the kind of news media attention they generate. I think you'd be astonished at how many virtually anonymous people have been linked with more murders than Son of Sam, or even John Gacy, which is not. Gacy never got in a position where he could become publicized. They caught him, convicted him, and put him away with a minimum flurry, as I recall. But anyways, you know, so this was on the page, apparently, that he circled, if that's even a true, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, what? We don't get to know. That's why the trial would have been so cool. You know, so hopefully all of the discovery will be released. And but the thing is that something, do they generally do that? Release all of the discovery like that? Yeah, and Laura, I actually answered your question. I mean, that's the thing. After I finally, you put it in one of the comments, I just kept wondering, where's the question? Where's the question? Yeah. So eventually we got to it and I answered it. So. Let's see. I can't wait. Yes, we'll do that, I think. Wait for what? Oh yeah, but I mean, I hope they release it all. I think what they need to do is release it all and make it available for everybody in one massive dump. You know, so that people don't have to sit there and do these little individual requests for every stupid little piece of information. They need to put it out on an area where there's PDF file after PDF file, videos, etc. Like a place where all of it is a repository. If that was the right word. I think Xana interrupted him and he left the sheath because he was in a hurry. Okay. All right. Yeah. Anything's possible. You're right. I mean, in my animation, I guess that could be it, right? He had the knife sheath there, and he gets up and he chases Xana, and he forgot to pick up that knife sheath. You'd think, though, when he got to his car, he'd go, holy shit, where's my knife sheath? And get right back in there. Thanks, Derek Sherman, 1980. I haven't seen D and K Reck for a long time. Have you guys seen them? Right. They might have a FOIA paywall, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Plunder sort of helped me try to figure out how to do this stuff. So Maybe I'll go out and give it a shot. You know, see what happens. All right. Now let's get back to the People magazine. Crazy article here, just so thoughtful, you know, just so filled with thoughtful, just wow, amazing stuff. Kernodle received a DoorDash delivery at her home around approximately 4 a.m. that morning, according to a copy of the probable cause affidavit. But yeah, but also in the other documents that came out, it was 3:59. But yes, around 4, because I actually think that the key fob sound is the DoorDash driver. The affidavit also said that Kernodle was on TikTok at 4:12 a.m., but her phone showed no activity after that time. And also thanks again up there to Deborah Halcomb. And that's right. Yeah, I didn't want Laura blocked if you blocked her up there. I just didn't want her rude comment there. Okay. Okay, good. I found you from this case, so I'm going to give you monies to get docs. Okay. Right. And that's what everybody says, huh? Hey, thanks, KR45, well, not 4KR, M10, there it is. But KR4546 said, found you from this case. And thanks, M10, 5 memberships. Look at that. We got 1, 2, Thopper Full, Aiden Hinson, Vidigugde, Ozzy Lena, and hey, we got a lot of Aussies in here. And when Zozo's here, there's another one. What am I looking at? I timed her out for 10 minutes. Okay. I just wanted the comment removed because I think all of us were trying to figure out. I mean, where's the question? You know, I didn't see it yet. Do you think he took something from the house? I don't know. You mean in the container? I don't know. If he did take something in the house and they found that item in the if they found the item in his property that's from the house, I mean, there's no out. I mean, you know what I think? I think there's other stuff that they have that is like akin to the purchase of the knife on Amazon in March. You know, things of that, like just totally damning pieces of information. You know, Gray, lots of people buy balaclavas. Who doesn't own a K-bar knife, you bastard, and a sheath? I don't. How about you? I bet you 99% of the people, more than that, 99.9% of the 99.99% of the population do not own a K-bar knife sheath, or a knife and a sheath, right? And that would be a cool stat to put out there. You know that only 0.01% of the entire population own a K-bar, and he purchased the exact same make and model. And in fact, how many own the K-bar knife sheath with the Eagle Globe insignia on it? Yeah, that's what I thought. Great. Lots of people do. Yeah. That's what they say. I guess so. Big Darren. Look at, man, Big Darren wanted to let everybody know that his mom has one. Yay! Good job, Big Darren. That means my theory is completely whack, because Big Darren's Yakuchi, or whatever the hell your name is, Mom has a K-bar knife, everybody, so you can just throw my theory out the window. It must be more like 50%. It must be almost the same as the White Elantra, where there was 50,000 of them in the area, for God's sakes. You know, forget the fact that there's only 20,000 people living in Moscow, Idaho, so apparently every single person has 2.5 Elantras. One of the most boring towns in the world. You drive up any street, there's 2 Elantras parked in everybody's driveway, and some people have 3. As a matter of fact, half of the population have 3 Elantras. Maybe some have 4 and some have 1. Maybe some have, you know, it's unbelievable. So the fact that a, you know, quote, White Elantra was driving around doesn't really point to Bryan Kohberger, does it? I mean, there was... Right. Let's see. Well, great. There you go. There you go. 5 minutes later, a neighbor security camera, located less than 50 feet, and it's not less than 50 feet. They never said that. From the wall of Kernodle's room, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper followed by a loud thud. And now, recently, somebody said there was screaming. There was screaming, and then there was a thud, and it's like, it didn't say there was screaming. You know, so it's funny how these people argue. You say something, and they go, well, why didn't anybody respond when Santa screamed? Wouldn't you think that would have woken up Ethan? And I said, when did she scream? It says it right there in the probable cause. She screamed, and then there was a loud thud. And I said, no, it says there was a whimper followed by a thud. You remember that? Oh, okay, I was wrong. But anyways, what? Oh, God. Just your argument's done at that point. Okay, move on to the next one. Coburger could have also been removing a piece of evidence that contained his DNA. I mean, if there is a container that he brought, that's more likely something that I would think. Not removing the... You know, that what he was carrying was actually the DoorDash Jack-in-the-Box bag. Coburger could have also been removing a piece of evidence that contained his DNA, or using the container to stash away the murder weapon and avoid leaving behind DNA. That second possibility would explain why they keep saying would explain. That second possibility would... This is Ancient Aliens. This is crazy. Now, that second possibility would explain why the eyewitness did not see him holding the murder weapon, which he had just used to kill 4 people, unless what she saw was the murder weapon. It could also explain why Coburger left the sheath to his K-bar knife behind. Why does that explain why there? If he had always planned to stash the weapon in a container and as a result forgot the sheath in which he used... Man, who wrote this thing, you guys? This sounds like the same logic that Proburgers and weird people... I mean, look at this thing. It would also explain why Coburger left the sheath to his K-bar knife behind. If he had always planned to stash the weapon in a container and as a result forgot the sheath in which he used to bring the weapon into the house. What is that right there? What does that even mean? Honestly, you guys, but the thing I just read, does that make any sense to anybody? I mean, honest to God, does anybody know what that means? Like, let's start over again. Let's try to work through this. Coburger could have also been removing a piece of evidence that contained his DNA, like the knife, or using the container to stash away the murder weapon and avoid leaving behind DNA. That second possibility, meaning the murder weapon inside the container, would explain why the eyewitness did not see him holding the murder weapon. Okay, maybe that makes sense. Which he had just used to kill 4 people. Then this next one says, it would also explain why Coburger left the sheath. How does that explain why he left it? To his K-bar knife behind, if he had always planned to stash the weapon in a container and as a result forgot the sheath. That's so ridiculous. What do you mean? It doesn't explain it. Wouldn't he have actually been like, oh wait, where's the sheath at that point? I don't know, man. Does that make sense to anybody out there? That's wild. Coburger could have also taken a memento, or one of those little pieces of candy you can throw inside a 7-Up bottle and it explodes. It is unlikely that the former criminology student would have arrived at a murder scene with a container given his plan to stab his victims to death. I don't know. I mean, see, again, it is unlikely that the former criminology student would have arrived at the murder scene with a container. How is that? What are you saying here that makes that unlikely? Given his plan to stab the victims to death, which means that the container had to be something he was taking from the home. Yeah, I mean, I could see the argument there. I just, he could have brought something in and put it in the kitchen or something, and it was clean, or he took something. Yeah, we know, Biops. That's why I had a drum roll after that. You get it? Okay, cool. Judge Stephen Hippler will hear arguments on July 17th after multiple media outlets filed a motion requesting a termination of the non-dissemination order in the case and the unsealing of all court documents. 1 week later, on July 23rd, Coburger will learn his fate at his sentencing hearing, where prosecutors are recommending a punishment of 4 fixed life sentences. But by the way, you guys, could you guys please help support the channel tonight? As I've said earlier, if we didn't have the one cat eye donation, we'd have $19 and some memberships. All right, this channel relies on you guys, and that's what's allowed us over the years to make a big difference in the true crime community by donating $251,500 to various true crime related charities. And it makes it really hard because there's a certain amount that the channel brings in that just supports the channel surviving, and then it's my ad revenue and everything else combined that allows us to give. And when we have nights like this over and over and over and over and over again, we just can't make it. All right, so consider supporting one of the few channels out there that actually cover true crime the right way. All right, thanks. And down here it says, there is no way to know for sure what Kohberger had in his hands, but the answer to the question, you know what, it could have been a pizza. Could have been a pizza that he carried with him the whole time. Maybe he put it on his head. That's about the same logic these people are using. Judge Stephen Hippler will hear arguments on July 17th at their multiple media outlets, and then 1 week later, on July 23rd, will learn his fate at his sentencing hearing, where prosecutors are recommending a punishment of 4 fixed life sentences. What's on the 23rd, Thomas? I mean, what do you mean just wait till the 23rd? What does that mean? Coburger signed off on the recommendation after Thompson said prosecutors would no longer seek the death penalty in the case. Well, if he accepted the deal. I mean, he didn't say we weren't going to seek the death penalty, and he goes, oh, okay, cool. Now, I don't know who wrote that. That was bizarre, man. That was way out there. Hey, thanks, Seabreeze, for the comment. But, you know, I mean, I'm trying to figure it all also, too, when I explain the need for the channel to get supported, how it almost like absolutely nobody responds to it. That's probably one of the worst feelings you can ever have when you're doing these shows. Hey, thanks, Jason Eaton, for gifting a membership to Micah Kaplan. Micah. I remember the Micah Miller case. That's the only other Micah. I think I've heard of Micah before. For sentencing. No, but it's also being streamed on YouTube, T-Moral, so it doesn't really matter. It's being streamed. He's just not allowing a news outlet to record it. But you can record it on YouTube. So I'll be playing it here. I don't know who Vox is or anything. Let's see. Will we ever know why Bryan Kohberger murdered the Idaho 4? Let's see what they say. When Bryan Kohberger entered a guilty plea on July 2nd in the case of 4 murdered Idaho students, it brought an abrupt conclusion to one of the biggest true crime cases in decades. Kohberger's trial, previously scheduled to begin in August, would likely have surfaced much more information regarding the killings of Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, and Xana Kernodle, students at the University of Idaho in small town of Moscow. Years of delay in the journey to trial, paired with strict ongoing gag orders in the case, have meant that even 3 years later, most of what we know about the crimes still comes from the initial probable cause affidavit. Yeah, well, you know, that's because you haven't followed it. The probable cause document, yeah, that was great, but most of the information in terms of details have come out in the documents since then. Now, yes, in the documents since then. I mean, it's just been amazing, the timeline that they actually put out in a document of all the camera shots. I mean, that was huge. That was so bad for Kohberger. Hey, thanks, Dixie Hippie. Yeah, any amounts appreciated. Thank you so much. It just sucks that it falls on deaf ears to so many. Let's see, years of delays in the journey to trial, paired with strict ongoing gag orders in the case, have meant that even 3 years later, most of what we know about the crime still comes from the initial probable cause affidavit filed against Kohberger prior to his arrest in December of 2022, about 6 weeks after the murders took place on November 13th. He was charged and eventually pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. Since then, other pieces of the puzzle have been filled in primarily from anecdotal reports shared by friends and family of the Idaho 4 Kohbergers, as well as clues gleaned unofficially from social media accounts and occasional, well, those are, you can't rely on that shit. I mean, you know, occasional investigation leaks. Yeah, I mean, Dateline and the court documents have been the biggest supplier of information. You know, sort of, I guess you could say the foundation was laid by the probable cause, but even some of that information changed over time. Okay, look at this troll comment down here. Come on. Maybe in nursing home. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody's channel has people in nursing homes that watch. It just feels, I don't know what you're talking about, Susan. Yeah, I definitely, you know, I try to make people laugh from time to time. It's just very disheartening lately. Every show I have to scratch and claw just to try to get people to go, oh, hey! You know, it's just, it's not fun for me. And I love covering the cases, but at the same time, You got to be able to make it. And I can't, my videos don't do well enough, unfortunately. Somehow you guys don't watch them, most of them, and I don't know what to tell you. So I need you guys' support when I do these shows, or we will just be relegated to something else. All right? So yeah, that sounds like one of the troll channel people up there, what Susan typed in there. A lot of people who watch you may be in a nursing home and you bring them comfort, Gray. Shut the hell up, man. That's just such a dumb... right. I'm not sure why the comment's still there. I'm getting rid of it. All right. The end result is... okay. The end result is that while the public can connect the dots with much of the information surrounding the Moscow murders, the biggest question of all, why? Well, maybe the trial wasn't going to cover the why. It might have covered the, how it came about. Here's a look at what we know so far, what we're likely to learn from upcoming media in the case, and what's next for players in this awful saga. Why Coburger pleaded guilty? He was out of moves. Given that Coburger, yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying, is that they threw everything at the wall, didn't stick. No, it is that people don't watch. Because when you have a video, like I made a 360-degree video yesterday, you guys, and those things take hours and hours and hours. They're so huge, the files. They take hours and hours and hours to upload. And the video has not even 2,000 views, and it made $14.90. Does that seem worth it to you guys? To sit there and put out a video that, it's a 360-degree full drive alternate route that I think he very likely could have taken after the homicide, and nobody wanted to take the time to watch it. When I say nobody, I'm not talking about the ones that did watch it, but when you have 161,000 subscribers basically, and you get 2,000 views on a really cool video that's 360 degrees, there's something wrong. Okay, it's terrible. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Jay Gov said Gray does a tremendous job with the channel. People need to quit it being so soft. Enjoy his hard work and the sense of humor. Well, there you go. Thank you. Appreciate that. Given that Coburger, and that's right here, by the way. Yeah, so some people get it, and then the other people, they don't get it. Like, Laura shouldn't have been upset when we were saying, where's the question? We're just being snarky, whatever the hell you want to call it. Nobody cares. Nobody the next day, 3 weeks from now, is going to go, hey, isn't Laura the one that didn't ask the question? It's just stupid. Who cares, man? Don't worry about watching it, Mama. I just, if you didn't watch it, you didn't watch it. It just sucks to put out videos that nobody, it's just like, yeah. And if I dare to put out a video on another case, it won't even get 1,000 views. Won't even come close. It's terrible. If it's just a random case. Now, maybe if it was some bigger one, but I don't know. I don't think so. I don't. Because I'm not in the algorithm. Oh, there you go, Dixie Hippie. Nobody said that. I said, when I say nobody watched, I'm not referring to the people that watch. I'm talking about, if you had a video that got 80 views, wouldn't you say, man, nobody watched that thing? Right? I mean, that doesn't mean the 80 that watched are nobodies. It means that I'm saying, in general, that is horrendous. Yeah, well, why don't you go work at one of those, KR? That'd be great. All right, let's see. So now we're down here. After stalling the judicial process for years, Kohberger's defense team had swiftly been running out of plans following a series of judicial rulings favoring the prosecution and limiting the defense strategies. Yeah, well, I mean, they had Hail Marys. They tried to get the third-party suspect and to try to get more time, citing datelines, inside sources, and they need to have time to recover from that. And Judge Hippler goes, nah, that's... You didn't get either one of those. And then they looked over at Coburger and said, that's all we got, man. And then Coburger's like, all right, let's offer something. I mean, here's what I don't understand, and I'll say it again. I do not understand why Coburger didn't... Bill Thompson did not, as soon as they came forward, the defense, and said, yeah, we'd like to plead guilty. He didn't say, well, I have the requirements I have. Yes, we'll take the death penalty off the table. He will not be able to file appeals. And he's got to give us a full account of what he did and tell us where the knife sheath is. And if he says no to those second two, you go to trial. And the reason is because why are you not telling those things if you're admitting guilt? That means you think there's a chance later that some other judge will think it's unconstitutional to take away somebody's appeal rights, and then you'll be able to try to file something. You get it? Right. Oh, you're just kidding. Okay, KR, that's good. Jesus. Yeah, I'm sure it was a joke. It was a dumb comment, though. It doesn't, wasn't funny, or, it's just, I love the people who come in and they try to get the little cut downs in while trying to pretend that they were complimenting. Yeah, some people can't, Babs. But but here's a night where there's almost 400 people, and I'm sure we could, but it just doesn't happen. All right, so can you just, nobody really cares, Babs, so can you just do your own thing? Thanks. Kohberger's guilty plea, which prosecutors shared directly with the victim's family before the news broke on June 30th, allows him to avoid the death penalty. His sentencing hearing is scheduled for July 23rd, where, per the terms of the agreement, he will receive 4 consecutive life sentences on the murder counts and the maximum penalty of 10 years on the burglary count. Right, but his minimum on the life sentences are 10, and if you think Hitler's even going to even come close to giving him 10 on any of the counts is absurd. And by the way, we need... Yep, see you later, Bab. Yeah, so what we need is some coffees. We have 0 coffees tonight. You're just coming in here to troll, Babs. It's not really that interesting. With Judge Stephen Hippler ruling that Kohberger's claim to have been driving around looking at the stars during the time of the murders was not actually an alibi. Well, of course it wasn't. He didn't even say where he was. He just says sometimes he drives around and looks at the stars. And rejoining a potential alternate suspect defense, with Hippler dismissing the defense coterie of alternate perpetrators as rank speculation. Yeah, they threw 4 of them out there. The fact that they threw 4 out there, doesn't that tell you immediately that, hey, wow, thanks, Mary, for a handful of coffees there. Very cool. Let's see. Is this from today? No, that's a long time ago. So People Magazine, the same one we were reading earlier, somebody sent me a one that was published on like just a month and a half after the homicide, or he was arrested, or not even that, 2 weeks after. It said that something like, I mean, we all remember this, that he messaged Madison Mogen a whole bunch of times. He slid into one of the girls' DMs several times. The source tells People. So that doesn't mean that there was a direct connection. It means that he tried to get a hold of one of them. And maybe he ignored, so maybe Madison Mogen ignored him. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this all from the beginning. None of that's new. As a possibility. But I think if Coburger tried to communicate with Madison Mogen and she didn't respond, that's not direct communication, right? Let's see. And recently revealed second eyewitness, a DoorDash driver who delivered a meal to Xana Kernodle and claims to have seen Coburger at the 1122 King Road address. Well, she claims she parked right next to him. Coburger's guilty plea, which prosecutors shared directly with the victims' families before the news broke on June 30th, allows him to avoid the death penalty. His sentencing hearing is scheduled for July 23rd, where, per the terms of the agreement, he will receive 4 consecutive life sentences. But tell you what, you guys, if you want to send in a super chat with a poll question, we can put that up there too. But while avoiding a trial means avoiding trauma for witnesses and victims' family, not everyone is happy about the outcome. The family of Kaylee Gonzalez's in particular, has been vocal in their vocal in their displeasure that Coburger will not have to stand trial or face the death penalty, though other victims' families, including that of Gonzalez, lifelong best friend Mogen, have stated their support for the plea deal. Onlookers hoping that Coburger's plea deal might yield some new insight were left disappointed when his plea hearing, including no additional admissions from Coburger about why he committed the crime, whether he premeditated any of the acts, or why he apparently chose to leave the 2 remaining housemates. Well, we don't know if he chose to do that. He might not have seen him or even known exactly where they were. You know, I mean, you make it seem like, oh, he saw them, but, you know, he just... In the absence of any official answers and without a trial to provide them, the public will instead be getting a deluge of new media about the case, most of it releasing in mid-July, originally intended to drop just before Coburger's trial. Instead, what we have left is a fairly broad spectrum. I don't think the Amazon special really had anything new in terms of like factually related to the case. It was just more about like the kids and why, you know, maybe Dylan and Bethany, you know, that whole circumstances. If you watch that and you're still confused, then there's something wrong with you. Okay, because that was almost exactly what we said was the reasoning. Here. But hey guys, if you're out there, if you could please help support the channel. We're just really kind of struggling along here tonight. I think we're maybe at 50%. Not even that. So, but Brian pleaded guilty because he's actually innocent. Of course. Brian, you know the dumbest argument you hear out there by the pro-burger nut jobs? We should call them troll burgers, you know? I mean, that's really what they are, right? They think that he is doing this to protect, you know, his parents from having to say what they know. I mean, isn't that the dumbest argument? Well, if he didn't do it, why is he scared of what they might say? You know what I mean? If he didn't do it, why does he care if his parents go on to the stand? They don't have anything to say. You see, they lose the logic in that. They think it's so clever and smart. Oh, he's covering up for... what are you talking about? Where can we see that? Yeah, it's not there anymore. You're not the Caligal 3 from that used to come here. Caligal 3, are you, Caligal? Are you? I don't know how you can say that. It was amazing. What are you talking about, Caligal? What has she said? What was amazing? What? Yeah, the special was good. Yeah. Like, it's not Caligal 3. Okay. Oh, you're just Caligal. Yeah, I was thinking you don't seem like that person. Hey, thanks, Hawk fan. But great. Hey, we got to play that again, everybody. We got to do the. It makes me laugh. Puts me in a good mood. Where is that thing? The one that our buddy Alan McMahon filmed. I actually recorded it myself, but his is about as good as it was anyway. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is from when I was in Idaho. I don't have my hat on or anything. This is when I was just there recently.
You guys see that?
Here we go.
When I was on Court TV, do you guys see that? I'm sure they'll get the obligatory, I can't believe you had Gray on your show, Vinny. I'm never watching again. When I was on...
I don't know what it is. Every time I watch it, I laugh at myself. It's just, oh, that's the best, man. One more time.
Court TV, do you guys see that? I'm sure they'll get the obligatory, I can't believe you had Gray on your show, Vinny. I'm never watching again.
Yeah, boom. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. Every time I'm on Court TV, you go into the comments, and why do you laugh with those idiots who come out there and they say the same thing? Every time Gray's on, I quit watching, Vinny. Why don't you have somebody else on? Well, maybe because I know the case better than anybody that you wanted to put on there. Okay? You know what? I think I know the case better than every other true crime YouTube channel that there is out there. Okay? And I'm not saying that like trying to be braggadocious. I think it's absolutely a fact. Like, that's really the reality of it. And I know that because whenever I watch somebody, there's always something that they say that just isn't real. It's not factual. And they don't have it all. All right? So, you guys are lucky, man. You guys are lucky. I mean, even the bigwigs, they don't know it. All right? So, the channels that you think, oh yeah, I better check in on this one. Ooh, let me go watch Law and Crime. And they don't know the whole thing, man. They know the little snippets that are cool to know at that moment. They don't synthesize it all together in a picture. Let's see. No, I haven't been, though, the Midnight Coop. One of the trolls that got a free membership. Let's see. And yeah, I mean, things that you might speculate on a long time ago. Of course, those aren't going to be true, every single time later. Right. Okay. But when I have the facts and put it into the story, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you're just guessing at something, I never insisted that. I said I think it's very possible that they were killed first. Yeah, because of the way it worked. I mean, of course I said something like that. Well, I don't really care. What a thing to say, by the way. Ah, Jesus. What a douche. Get out of here. Yeah, all I ever said was, you know what? He probably went upstairs and, let's see, he probably, remember the thing about early on when they were talking about how she said something like, or he said, hey, it's okay, I'm going to help you. To me, that means that he's already attacked the person to say something like that. So that was a theory that I had. Okay? Yeah, all right. Okay. It wasn't a crazy theory, and get the hell out of here. This is a troll. What a thing to say. What a thing to say. Right. You knew exactly what you're doing. Nobody said anybody was pushed upstairs. What in the hell are you talking about? This is a theory that I had at the beginning. That when he came into the house, Xana Kernodle was in the kitchen. You want to hear this? Does this sound crazy? Listen to this. Xana Kernodle was in the kitchen. And this is before I even considered that once I visited there, I started believing that Madison Mogen was a target based on the windows and everything. But so this is the theory. When Xana Kernodle went to the kitchen with her DoorDash bag, on the way out, of the kitchen, or sometime around that time, he comes in and she's like, hey, somebody's here, and then he attacks them and she falls to the ground, and he kills both of them, but she's still alive, kind of. Then he goes upstairs and kills Madison and Kaylee, because that's what his intended goal was. And then when he comes down, he hears sound coming from Xana's room, and the whimpering, the whining sound. Because doesn't that make more sense? Whimpering sound? Who whimpers when you're being attacked with a K-bar knife? I don't think you're whimpering. So you might whimper, though, if you're very seriously injured. And he goes upstairs, and on the way down, so after he's killed Madison and Kaylee, on the way down, he hears something. He goes over there, and he goes, hey, it's okay, I'm here to help, to make it so she doesn't scream or anything. And then he attacks her the final time, and then she hits the ground. I think that theory made a hell of a lot of sense, but I said, even then, I go, but we're not going to get to know because, we don't have where all the blood was and everything. So now I concede that he went upstairs to Madison Mogen and Kaylee's first, and by the way, what's wrong with doing that? See, I'm not like the other people. I'm not like the Midnight Coup here, who, when they have a theory, stick with the same theory for the rest of their life, even when information comes in. All right? I change my opinion when the information changes it. Like, if it comes in and the facts are different than what I thought, I go with that. I go, oh, wow, okay, cool. I guess they weren't killed first. Is there something wrong with doing that, you guys? Isn't that what you want people to do? Sure. I mean, some of the stuff I've guessed at with no information is not accurate. Okay? But I would say a ton of it has been accurate. And by the way, you want to hear something? It's not really that key, like they said up there. Like the order. He killed all 4 people in there. All right? And it still was the same reasoning. He killed Xana and Ethan. He didn't want to do that. Like, that's not why he went there, even if he killed them first. And then he goes upstairs, and there's Kaylee sitting there. And so it all works out exactly the same. He still was going to kill Madison Mogen, but was interrupted by Xana first. That would be that theory. Is there something wrong with that? I didn't think so. All right. So anyways, you guys, we're still languishing at about 58%. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, that would be awesome. What's new? Perspective from the victim's family and friends and chilling insight into Coburger. Let's see. During the 6-week national manhunt for their perpetrator. Okay, forget that. Over 4 60-minute episodes, Garbus and her co-director Matthew Galkin focus on the stories of the victims, friends, and families, including heartbreaking details from family interviews like Ethan Chapin's siblings. Now the remaining two triplets spending their last night with him together at a sorority formal just hours before his death. A second documentary for Peacock, The Idaho Student Murders, premiered the day after Coburger pleaded guilty. Well, that's what that is, right? Yeah. No, I thought it was... Wait, what's that one? The Idaho Student Murders. Have we seen that one? I saw One Night in Idaho, and then I saw the one... let's see, the Idaho Student Murders. Which one is that? I know I've seen them all, I think. Hey, look at my avatar is that guy. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I forgot which one that is. The Idaho Student Murders. Isn't now? Huh. Premiered the day after Coburger pleaded guilty. It's similar, gathers friends and... Oh yeah, I think I heard of that one. Friends and family together to remember Ethan, Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana while opening up about their own trauma and loss. I think I did see that. Then there's the Idaho 4, An American Tragedy, the book by Ward and Patterson, due out today. Well, I have that book. Hey, thanks, Derek Sherman again. Well, thank you. You have to admit the ex-con video that I sent you was interesting to the people that don't know how prison justice... Yeah, it was pretty good, you know. I mean, I watched, you know, part of it. I mean, like 60% of it anyways. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty interesting, though. I have to admit. Now, that Datelines was called, like, it had more an ominous, you know, like King Road or something, or Killer at King Road, you know, something like that. Yeah, I got the Audible book. That's what I have. I haven't been able to listen to any of it. I was trying to get ready for the show here, so it'd be great to get the support, though, you guys. We're still just absolutely getting killed on here. We got one coffee, or at least, you know, she bought me a few coffees, but you know, just really weird. Then there's the Idaho 4, An American Tragedy, the book by Ward and Patterson, due out today. While Patterson's authors the book, it's Ward who had done the bulk of the investigation, conducting hundreds of interviews in and around Moscow, as well as Coburger's home back in the Pocono region of Pennsylvania. The book is a true deep dive into the case and the context of the murders, as much as any book can be, while still obeying the court gag order. Ward spends time early on laying out the complicated dynamic of the King Road. They probably wish they're like, oh my God, let's rewrite this book really quick and throw the stuff in that we know. They should have put some Easter eggs in there or something. I don't know. I guess if they're putting it out now, it's before the court order was lifted. But they could have just added something to it and then waited. Hey, thanks, KMTX78. Hey, no problem, Happy Chickadee. I just figured out 376 people. That should be sort of simple to get to the goal. It's like 60 cents a piece at the beginning. Now it's like 30. Melody, they got the footage of that night right away. I'm not sure what footage was still available from the prior weeks. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see a melody even in the chat. Like way up there. Can anyone tell me why, when the gag order is lifted, that we won't see Bryan Kohberger stalking the house in the months prior? If he visited 23 times, are you a pro-burger? Yeah, the thing is we're, you know, maybe they don't have that on video because it was all the way back 4 months prior. A lot of times people write over stuff like that. All right. Hey, thanks, Hawk Fan. Come on, people, let's get great. It was cool early. I know, it's never early anymore. It's always a constant night of me struggling to get people to realize, you know, and help. And it's just, you know, the shows are so much more fun when we get to the goal early, because then I can just focus instead I have to stop and go, hey, you know. Yeah, the Amazon Prime one I think was the best story told. Dateline was the best for new information by a mile. Like it was full of it. And if you can ever go back and listen to Dateline's first version, where they have sources in that first version that's no more, you can't find the video anymore, but there's an audio of it as a podcast, and it actually talks about how they think that Papa Rogers is Bryan Kohberger, like a source, an inside source that they have. Thank you, Dixie Hippie. While all this is important piece of the story, it's only half. One of the most striking things about the Idaho murders is that the motives of the suspect have up until now been largely opaque. What little we know about Coburger has come mainly from his turbulent academic history. Once a star criminology student who studied under premier true crime writer and forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland, who recently opened up about Coburger for the very first time in her New York Times. Coburger moved to Pullman, Washington, near Moscow, Idaho, in the fall of 2022. I don't think that's accurate. He moved there in like early summer, really, to do his doctorate at the Washington State University after becoming a teaching assistant. However, he quickly bottomed out. Over the course of one semester, he was reprimanded, then fired for reportedly grading students too harshly. I think he wanted to get fired. I mean, if his apartment was empty, that must mean he knew that he wasn't coming back. Just over a week after Coburger was placed on a performance improvement plan, the murders took place. Still, apart from his academic spiral up until very recently, there's been little indication of what, if anything, could have prompted Coburger's actions. Even Ramsland, veteran author of book on serial killer psychology, told the New York Times that at first she doubted he could possibly be the culprit. So look at this is what Hawk Fan typed. Come on, people, let's get great to his goal early tonight. All right, don't leave him hanging. Don't leave him hanging. Or actually, I can't tell what gender Hawk Fan 249 is. Let's see. That at first she doubted he could possibly be the culprit. Man, well, how come, man? Recent insight leaked from the investigation to Dateline for a May episode of the show, however, shows that Coburger had an incriminating search history, including searches for pornography with the keywords drugged and passed out. He also searched for serial killers like Ted Bundy, though as a criminologist, that might be excusable. Less excusable, however, Dateline revealed that according to cell tower records, Coburger had been in the vicinity of King Road no less than 23 times in 4 months. But also Dateline said that he was within 100 yards those 23 times. Or meters, whatever the hell they said. But anyways. The Idaho 4 leans into the idea of Coburger as an obsessive with dark tendencies. One source, the father of a childhood friend, alleges in the book that as a teen, Coburger stalked him over a long period of time, frequently breaking into his house and stealing small items. See, remember he had those two IDs tucked away? Was it in a sock or something? I can't remember exactly where he put that, but yeah, those two IDs. I mean, I think he broke into other people's homes. He's probably good at it. I bet you he was like a voyeur in a creepy way where he'd go into somebody's home and watch them while standing there, but he never acted out. And then later on, as frustration grew and grew and grew, he utilized those same skills that he used to get into people's homes, and eventually was a glove. Okay, eventually was going to kill. I forgot the glove. I mean, now that you say glove, it's like, oh yeah, glove. I knew it was in some kind of an item. Frequently breaking into his house and stealing small items that belonged to him. Stealing small items that belonged to him. Frequently breaking into his house. Oh, into his own house. What the hell? Oh wait, into his friend's house to take items that belonged to him. Multiple sources recount Coburger's harsh and condescending treatment of female students and his difficulty interacting with women. Patterson and Ward also hammer home the many similarities between Coburger and the 2014 Isla Vista mass shooter. And guess who the first YouTuber was to make a connection of the Idaho 4 murder case and Bryan Kohberger. Thank you. Thank you very much. And not even Bryan Kohberger, actually. It was who came up with the first video on YouTube regarding the killer in the Idaho 4 case to Elliot Rodger. So on my channel, we kind of thought about it and thought, man, is this like an incel? He kills these, you know? And then we talked about Elliot Rodger. That was December 25th, 2022, just 5 days or so before he was arrested. But isn't that weird? I was actually thinking that's kind of weird. Like, how did we... I mean, were people talking about Papa Roger? I don't think Papa Rogers came out as somebody that people were interested in until after the arrest. Because then they go, oh, see, look at this guy. And then everybody was talking about it. I just explained it, Callie Gal. Were you not paying attention, Callie Gal? I made one sentence and then I corrected it in the next sentence. But people like you don't wait. You're just so clever. You have to type in so fast. We're just doing whatever we're doing. The Wolf, what are you doing tonight? Trolling? Maybe Papa is also... No, it's not. It's not. Because there's two P's in there, Lindsay. Yeah. Somebody sent me an email today. I think that might have been Lindsay. Who said, maybe PAPA stands for Pennsylvania. And I said, well, it's not PAPA. It's PAPPA. The 360-degree camera? It's not a 3D camera. It's 360. What do you mean you went down the incel rabbit hole today? Just watch my videos. You don't need to go down a rabbit hole. We've already talked about it. My video today that I put on YouTube was exactly that. I think... Elliot Rodger had a manifesto that mentioned a person named Maddie many times over and over again, eventually saying that Maddie, who was once his childhood friend, eventually grew up into the exact same type of person that he grew to despise and wanted to fillet her. And don't you think it's weird how Coburger actually filleted, if you want to call it that, used a knife on the victims, and Elliot Rodger, I think he used the knife to kill his roommates, but then shot all the people while he was driving in Isla Vista. He didn't use a a knife to kill the girls. Coburger did, though. Alright guys, we're back to the LOL. So if you're out there and you can help support the channel, that'd be great. We're currently at, I don't know, 70% maybe at this point. It's hard to say. Yeah, we're about $80 short so far. So, you know, if everybody out there was helping the channel, that'd be great. So YouTube has a delay, so sometimes people aren't responding. Then they shouldn't comment, you know. Caligal. I want familiar with the group besides Elliot Roger. Oh, you mean of just Incel? Oh, yeah. It's kind of a weird little, like a community. And you know what's weird is I don't think either one of them were involuntarily celibate. Somebody today said that neither one were bad looking. Does anybody think that Elliot Rogers is attractive? That guy, I mean, I could see somebody maybe thinking Coburger was, in certain circumstances, if he wasn't a killer and he didn't look like he does now, where he shaved his eyebrows. But I guess maybe that's better than when that was before. No, Caligal, I mean, if you're way behind, you probably shouldn't comment because it throws people off. And you weren't behind, Caligal. You just didn't wait 10 seconds for me to actually correct what I was saying, as you often do. Let's see, I was in a Facebook group, both of them. He was creepy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think both of them could have been with women. They just, but what's strange in their own mind, yeah, I don't think either one are attractive, but if you were going to pick one that was more attractive physically, you'd probably, I don't think Elliot Roger is just like this weird, I mean, what a weirdo, man. That guy is weird as hell. Wow! You always make really rude comments, Caligal. You try to sneak them in, you pretend nobody's looking at them. Let's see, they were both nice-looking young men. What? They're both nice-looking young men? Yeah, I mean, give me a break. Elliot Rogers looks like an absolute dweeb. Okay? I mean, he looks exactly like he looks for a reason. Yeah, he's crazy. I think that's uncalled for. Ooh. Let's see. Coburger is kind of tall, so that's a plus. Yeah, I just think that, I mean, how could you think Elliot Roger, I guess I shouldn't have said that. Jenna got upset about that. Okay, well, it sounds like you're talking to me, Caligal, as it often sounds like. I know. It's okay, Derek. I think it's just going to be another one of those nights. You know, we've had many, many, many of them, and no idea why. Or see what I mean? See how you just make your little rude comments, Caligal, just like that. So you always give yourself away. All right, so maybe come back in a little bit. All right. It's pretty active. Looks pretty active to me. It's really buzzing along. Let's see. What we may never really know. Even factoring in Coburger's alleged misogyny, though none of that exactly answers the question. I mean, you actually think Elliot Rogers is cute? My God. Have you seen the one where he's standing in the street? His neck's like really long and his head's huge and his body's small. And he's just standing there like, you know, he's really a weirdo. Yeah, if you're not talking to me, tag somebody else. Because I say something and then you respond almost seemingly directly to me. And then when I get it wrong, you go, oh, I wasn't talking to you, Gray. Well, how does the person that you were talking to know that you were talking to them either? Yeah. There's no evidence that any of the students in the King Road Circle knew Coburger at all. Yet almost since the crimes unfolded, informal suspicion has fallen on Coburger as being fixated on Maddie Mogan in particular. The most compelling reason for this is that, according to victim family and friends, an account believed to belong to Coburger had allegedly previously liked and followed Mogan's Instagram posts. So that's an indirect connection. Authorities reportedly confirmed that an Instagram account belonged to Coburger, followed the account of all 3 of the women he killed. At the plea hearing, prosecutors confirmed that when Coburger broke into the King Road house, he went directly upstairs to Mogan's room, where he also encountered Gonzalez. While this still isn't as satisfying as a confession with a motive coming from Coburger himself, the implication is that Coburger had his sights set on Mogan. Yeah, we've known that for a long time. Her room was easily visible from the street, and it doesn't mean, like, the prosecutor, by saying he went upstairs first, is not saying to us that Madison Mogan was the target of, although later on he made comments saying they can't say that all of the murders he went there to intentionally do, right? So, that does kind of indicate it there, but him merely stating he went upstairs first does not say that. Her room was easily visible from the street and adjacent parking lots. She was an exposed, vulnerable target. But anyways, thanks up there to Derek Sherman, who's been trying really hard to get other people to jump on board. And you guys are really letting Derek down tonight. Thanks, Derek. I already did it. Why do I need to read page 118 of his manifesto? That wasn't where the page 118 came from. It was Bundy's book. Well, Ted Bundy was here during the premiere today. I think Ted Bundy might actually be a woman. Hey, look at that. Buy Bitcoin is up. Here you go, Greg. My Bitcoin is up. All right. Thank you, Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's just been flying up there. It's crazy. I actually have a step half brother. So I have a step sister who has a half brother. So that guy, he bought a bunch of Bitcoin a long time ago. Like 12 years ago, whatever it started. And he was always talking about it. And now I just wonder, man, how many coins did that sucker have when he told me? That's amazing. That's crazy. Looney Tune stuff. Of course, I don't get even a coin, which is $120,000 now, but thanks a lot, though, Hawk fan. That was very kind of you there. Thank you. I think Bundy might be. Well, Bundy, the person in the chat, not the real Ted Bundy. I don't know. I can't tell. I'm just guessing. Some people think these men are attractive. Well, I don't know. I don't really know. To each their own, right? Maybe, What I was trying to say earlier, though, is this. Elliot Rodger and Bryan Kohberger are not incels. Because either one of them probably could have dated somebody, but it's their attitude and them specifically thinking that they should be able to be with the hottest girl on the planet, and they're blonde. Ooh. You know, that's their thing, right? I mean, look at Coburger. I think most people think that Korean girl Ko is very pretty. She was, I mean, the picture they had of her, she's very pretty. I mean, hell, why wasn't he happy? Like, oh my God, look at this. That's because he wants a, oh, you didn't know what I was talking about, Paulette? Yeah, Ted Bundy, the chatter, I think, might be a female. Not the, I mean, why? That's what I mean. Like, Kohberger, he just wanted the hot blonde girl. And so when you say incels, I mean, those are people, I mean, is that what they all are? Is they all think that they deserve something great? Or are the real incels ones that even trying to date the homeliest person on the planet, they still can't get a date? Yeah, that's what I thought, Mr. More Melody. Well, he never got seduced by them, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's just... let's see. At the plea hearing, prosecutors confirmed that when Coburger broke into the King home house, right, he went up to Mogan's room first, where he also encountered Gonzalez. While this still isn't as satisfying as a confession with a motive coming from Coburger himself, the implication is that Coburger had his sights set on Mogan. Her room was easily visible from the street and adjacent parking lots. She was an exposed and vulnerable target. And so Gonzalez, who no longer even lived at the house, but was visiting her best friend, and Chapin and Coronado, who appeared to have been awakened by the struggle upstairs in Mogan's room, were likely all collateral damage. Boy, who's been saying that for like a really, really long time? You know? I'm glad you guys finally came around to that. Yeah, and Kaylee was actually in Madison's room at the time. I don't even think she had her bed there. That's what I said in my video today. I go, man, he wouldn't even be interested in a brunette. That Gray will hate. Bryan Kohberger's sister that lost her job due to the whole who she is, isn't that unfair? Yeah, I think it's garbage. Yeah. I don't think anybody should be punishing Kohberger's sisters for a damn thing. What, I mean, what, you know, what, they don't like the publicity? Or what? I mean, what's crazy is both of them are psychological, they're psychological, they work in the psychological field, is what I was trying to say. All right, we need, let's see, what is it? 4 more channel memberships. All right, if we get 4 more channel memberships, I'll donate 5 channel memberships myself. What do you guys think of that? And that it cost me $25 as well. I would think so about his sister. Yeah, I don't think any of his... The only person in his family... Well, listen, I don't think any of his family members knew that Kohberger killed them, like, or was going to kill them. They may have known something after the fact, but I don't think, you know, I mean, the father's one that's kind of, he's a little odd the way, like on the drive back, how when they got pulled over twice, he tried to throw the cops off both times. let's see. Once more, okay, the event, the cruel and seemingly random killing of young people near a college campus, as if ripped from a slasher movie is almost impossible to comprehend as real life, which was also true as it was unfolding. And by the way, my 360-degree video that I watched, does anybody out here have the cardboard goggles? Here's what I would recommend. Go onto Amazon or someplace and buy the Google Cardboard. And what you do is you put your glasses inside of these, like a little thing that you put on your face. And then you select on, when you're watching a 360-degree video on YouTube with your phone, you can actually press this little goggle button that's right below the video, and it puts it in both eye slots. And then you watch it, and here's what I would do. I would sit in a swivel chair in the middle of your living room or something and watch it, and then just turn it, because you're as if you're sitting on top of my car. I think it'd be a crazy experience. It'd be like you're sitting on top of my car, and then as you turn around in the chair, you're on the roof of my car rotating around. How cool would that be? Well, you should try it. I mean, I think it would be absolutely crazy to be just sitting basically on top of my car, looking around wherever you want to. I think it'd be just crazy. And then you could stop it at any time and look all around. And I mean, I think you guys would, you'd like it. All right, we need 4 more channel memberships, you guys. Somebody out there, there's got to be 4 of you. The event, the cruel and seemingly random killing of young people near a college campus, as if ripped from a slasher movie, is almost impossible to comprehend as real life, which was also true as it was unfolding. Once Mortensen, in a panic, ran downstairs to join Funk. The two decided that she must have been exaggerating the whole event. No, that's not what she said. She thought that she may have been imagining the whole event. She never said exaggerated anything. Hey, thanks, Heather. There's one of them. Mortensen told investigators she had been drunk at the time and unsure of what she'd seen had been real. Not even later, as the two of them gradually realized over the course of the next morning that something was very strange, did the two survivors understand what had happened in their house. Not even as they were calling 911, passing the phone around to their equally confused friends. Well, actually, when they were passing the phone around with their confused friends, Hunter knew exactly what happened. He knew what happened the first time he went up there. He just didn't want to say anything. He said that they were just passed out. Hunter is the one who told Dylan and Bethany that Xana passed out. They're passed out up there. He knew, however, that they were both killed at that time. Even 3 years later, it's difficult to understand anything that happened that night in Moscow. The more we learn, the more it becomes clear that no answer will ever truly bring a satisfying end to a truly haunting case. There you go. That's that one. We need 3 more, you guys, and I'll donate 5 myself. We can give away a lot of, well, that'll be 18 memberships gifted. If BK talks at all, it will be robotic. Yeah, he'll say something like, I'm sorry that I've affected the families the way I have. Goodbye. Now, how would he say it? He'd be, yeah, okay, I just wasn't really sure. I mean, where I come from, people can kill people. you know, so I wasn't sure, you know, in this state what I could do. So, you know, so just, you know, let me know. You know, the same way he talked in when he got pulled over by the cop. Let's see. Hey, there's one more. Sandy Shirley, we need 2 more now. Can we do it, everybody? Can we do it? Hey, here we go. Hey, come on, 10, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Can we get 2 more? Can we get 2 more of those channel memberships? 2 more, just 2 more, just 1 and 2, and a 1 and a 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 2. And by the way, let's hit that like button really quick, right? How hard is it to do? You just take your thumb, use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows, hit that like button. 10, 20, use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows, hit that like button. 20, 25, 30, 45, 40, hit that like button. It's one of the easiest damn things to do in the world. Wow, we got 1 out of that. Thanks a lot. Man, that was... All right. We just need 2 more now. All right, I think we're on this one now. Here's the TMZ article. I've still got this one and another one. That's okay, Cassandra. Hey, listen, I respond to Gary, Craig, or Greg. And Lance, too. Hey, listen, everybody. Listen to this. There's this secret group of trolls on the internet who go out and call me Lance all the time, thinking they're giving away secret information. But guess what? This is a true story. When I was born, my parents, who wanted me to be called Gray, they gave me the name L. Gray Hughes. All right? And this is an absolutely true story. It's mind-boggling almost. And then after I was born, and they had that written on the birth certificate, the doctor said, L, what the hell is that? And wrote Lance on there, all right? So that's what my name is officially out there, sort of, because my name was always supposed to be Gray, but now there's this other name attached when it was supposed to just be an initial. All right, so hey, you little sneaky guys out there, I've only told this story 1,700 times on the channel. Wow, you're so smart. Yay! Hey, thanks, Derek Sherman again. Look at that. He got 1. We need 1 more. Do we get 1 more? We just need 1 more. 10, 20, 25, 30. Oh, you guys can do it. All right. No death penalty. This was a better deal. Right. I try to make this case. Let me just tell you this, you guys. If he went to trial and he was found guilty, everybody would be like, yes, all right. But then the jury, let's say they couldn't decide on death, so he does not get the death penalty. Then he would have life in prison with appeals up the ass all the time. He would just be appeal, you know, all day long. But this one removes that. So he's actually got a worse sentence. So basically the prosecutor covered like the bases where he can never get out and he can never appeal, which is just horrible for Coburger. Death is worse, obviously, but the death penalty is much worse on the families for having to wait countless years. That's the argument for it. And I absolutely understand that argument. You know, I think I would be more like Gonzalez, though, and would want him to, you know, to die. I mean, just like now. Unfortunately, that's not the way the death penalty is here in our, you know, country. It's like, oh, you got the death penalty? Okay, see you in 30 years. You know, you go back and you go back to like 1940s. You got the death penalty, 2 weeks later, you're dead. I mean, it was crazy. It was like there's no waiting around. There's no waiting around. Hey, thanks, Cassandra. Let's see, hold on. I'm going to... I have to go out to use Firefox to do this. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Firefox to do this. Alright, it went it. It did it. Ah, there you go, there you go. Those are the 5 that I was going to gift. There you go. We got to a, you know, that's sort of like the, you know, I mean, here's the thing. The goal where I donate the 5 memberships, if we did that every single night, there would be no money at the end of the month to give to. See, my channel relies on the days where I do really good on ad revenue and we have these bigger nights. All right, but at least it keeps us moving forward. You know, usually if we reach the goal with ad revenue and other things, we are able to give some at the end of the month. I'm just saying if that was all there was, you know, then it's tough. Because the goal, let's say it's 250, right? Well, YouTube takes 30%. That would make it what? 25 times 7, like 205. Okay, and then you multiply that times 30. That's 6,000. And we donated 5,000 2 months ago. All right, so it makes it tough. Totally love the Han Zolvizes. I saw your correction. Yeah, I think they're cool. I like them all. I think every one of them are great. Like in that documentary you listen to, Madison Mogen's mom and stepdad. You see Ethan Chapin's parents. Absolutely, you see how they both feel. I mean, don't you think the Chapins, think about this for a second. The Chapins, they have, you know, at least 2 other kids, right? I mean, I don't know if there's another one too, but they have the, you know, do you think they want to spend the next 30 years looking over their shoulder, waiting for the next hearing? You know, and I thought it was really interesting that Madison Mogen's parents, that's their only kid. And they didn't even want to do it because they just need to, they don't want to spend the rest of their lives basically just with the constant weight of appeals, etc. I mean, I absolutely get it, you know. But I think, like, I would be like Steve is. I would want him, and you know, you're hoping that he gets the death penalty, but then at that point, you know, let's say the prosecutor. Well, what if all 4 of them wanted to settle? All 4 families, but the prosecutor said, you know what, I'm going for the death penalty. Isn't he condemning all 4 families to 30 years of hell, basically? I mean, if he decided on his own to go for the death penalty, yeah, it's kind of strange, right? Because that means for all those years, these people have to go to all the hearings and wonder and you know, who knows, man? There's so many stupid people in the world these days that, I mean, maybe he could have got, there could have been a hung jury and they have to start all over again. There's no chance that he would have been found not guilty. But I could definitely see a hung jury, because just look at the mentality of the nut job pro-burgers out there, who once they're provided, I mean, hell, the guy admitted doing it, and they can't admit it themselves. So that means if those guys were on the jury, they'd say, nope, 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 nope. I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. Right. Speaking to NBC News, Ethan's dad, Jim Chapin, said he doesn't care what happens to Coburger because he'll get what's coming. What matters most is that he's off the streets and can't hurt any more kids. Jim's wife, Stacy, said their stance has shifted. At first, it was eye for an eye, but after talking with prosecutors, They felt this deal made more sense for their family. Wow, there you go. See, that's exactly. I haven't read this yet, but there you go. She added, at the end of the day, Coburger's locked up for good with no chance to appeal. And now a bunch of kids, including their own, who had been subpoenaed, don't have to live with this hanging over them. Coburger showed up in court earlier this month to make his headline-making plea deal official, admitting to the courts first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in the 2022 stabbing deaths of 4 Idaho college students. Alongside Chapin's family, Madison Mogen loved ones are also backing the plea deal, but the families of Xana Kernodle Xana Kernodle is also, their family has also changed their mind on that. Today. I remember today I tried to go fishing in my what was it, that little kayak with the pedals on it. I went to Lake Oswego and I actually put my 360-degree camera in the water. I think I filmed some bluegill swimming around and stuff. That was kind of funny. Let's see, but the families are, yeah, so where is that? I saw the one with Xana's parents, or at least Xana's aunt, or
now with the new book on the Idaho college murders case,
where was that? Hold on a second. My thing is, though, the family should be outraged if he did not get information from Coburger. Okay, that's right here. I mean, it's in the AI section here. It says, the mother of Xana Kernodle, Kara Northington, has expressed that she is now at peace with the plea deal for Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing her daughter, while initially upset by the deal that didn't require Kohberger to explain his actions. I mean, you know, she now believes it's a blessing, as it will prevent further trauma and torment for the family by avoiding a potentially lengthy appeals process associated with the death penalty. Other victims' families have differing views. Yeah. So, there you go. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Anyway, thank you guys very much for the people that were supporting the channel tonight, and everybody here watching, you know, hitting that like button. We only got to 278 likes. That means there's a lot of trolls watching here. Surely somebody watching would easily just hit that like button, because this is the greatest show on the history, or in the history of the world, everybody. Best-selling author James Patterson and investigative reporter Vicky Ward teamed up for a book. Yeah, we didn't go over this one, right? There was consensus that it was Maddie that Coburger was going for, and the victims' families, I think, would all agree with that, Ward said. I mean, so it must be difficult for everybody. I mean, it must be hard thinking, you know, what if types of things, you know. Now, here's the odd part about this story. It's almost as if it was a cascading event. Because if Madison Mogen and Kaylee had slept in different rooms that night, the only person dead would be Madison Mogen. And it would have been quiet. And in my opinion, he would have left that knife sheath there as a little calling card. But instead, because Kaylee was awake, or was in the same bed and awoken, there was a struggle and a fight. And that noise alerted Xana Kernodle, who then was in the area observing and then was tracked down by Coburger and killed. And then at the same time, Coburger notices Ethan Chapin in there and kills him, and then carves his legs for some reason. Perhaps he carved the legs to make sure that even if he awoke, he wouldn't be able to move. Something like that. I have no idea. Isn't that crazy? So it was all just, stuff that serendipity, I guess, is the word. Just crazy. You guys ever seen that movie, Serendipity? That movie's really good with John Cusack and what's her name? I always forget her name, but I mean that's one of my favorite, like, one of those kind of romantic comedy type, whatever you want to call it. That's a pretty good one. Moscow police allege Coburger's cell phone records show his phone appeared to be close to the victim's house. Yeah, they said within 100 meters, I think. 12 occasions between August and the night of the murders. Now, if it's true, by the way, that it was 100 yards of the murders, let's see, where is this? Yeah, there's Lewiston. Yeah, right there. That's how well I know this. I can just zoom in from outer space right onto the... Now, right there. So watch this. You take the little measuring circle here and go by meters, and then go right on the house, and you go to 100 meters. Look at that. He was, if it's true, he was 23 times inside of that circle, which is the complex. You go into there, you know, it's just, that's crazy, right? That is a good movie. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, that was a good one. It's just, I just love how it ends, you know, just, I wish it went a little longer even after that. It was crazy. Anyways, and then it says the book described what is calls a reoccurring nightmare. The victim's friend Emily Lant, that's the girl that I think that's Hunter's girlfriend, had after the murders. Lant said she imagined that the now admitted killer went to the restaurant where Mogan worked, expressed romantic interest in her, and was rejected. Well, law enforcement doesn't believe that, because they said there was no direct connection. When the friends are told that the guy who murdered their friends is this guy, Bryan Kohberger, they don't recognize his photo. They can't put it together, Ward said. That's when Emily said the only explanation that she and her boyfriend Hunter Johnson could come up with is the story that we tell as the story of her dream that Bryan Kohberger targeted Maddie. Wait, what is that? So, that when Emily said the only explanation that she and her boyfriend Hunter could come up with is the story that we tell as the story of her dream. I don't get it. That Bryan Kohberger targeted Maddie, and that she doesn't know the exact details, but that's her best guess. Yeah, well, that's what we've come up with. Prosecutors said Mogan was the first of the four killed. A knife sheath with Kohberger's DNA was found under the body, officials said. The book also delves into Kohberger's life as a criminology PhD student at nearby Washington State University. Kohberger, so I guess I'll get to hear all this. I have the book, Audible book. Kohberger, the criminologist, had such training for this and almost committed the perfect crime. Yeah, I mean, if he didn't leave the sheath there, you know, that would be, you could still make a really good circumstantial case. But if you left the sheath there and there was no DNA on it, it still would, it would have been a better circumstantial case, because now you know it was a K-bar knife, and then they find that he purchased one, and they would have found his name because he was in the system. Yeah, but then he purchased a K-bar knife in March of 2022. So that would have been a really big piece of circumstantial evidence. But if he didn't leave the sheath at all, then you'd have Coburger's phone turning off at 2:54. You'd have a white Elantra showing up at 3:26 on Indian Hills Drive, and then 3:28 by the A&W, and then 3:29 at Ridge Road, then at 3:29:48 at the 1320 Linda Lane camera. Then it pulls into the complex, and then drives around and comes back multiple times, and then it parks. See, that's one of the things that I think is a huge piece of circumstantial evidence, that even without the knife sheath, if you could somehow corroborate and really push forth that that is Coburger's Elantra, and people believed it. So let's say you could somehow convince the jury by some other evidence that they might have that the vehicle that was driving around is Bryan Kohberger's vehicle, missing a front plate, it's the right year, his phone was turned off, his phone turned back on south near Blaine. And I think if you could sell that, the fact that the car on the final pass at 408, you see it go around back behind 500 Queen Road, and then even drive back, back around it. That means the car was right there at 408, and then that same vehicle drove away at a high rate of speed at 420. So even without the sheath saying Coburger was in the house, it would be unreasonable at that point to think, oh, so he was just watching out in his car, so you would just look at it like that within the same exact window from 4:08 to 4:20 and 47 seconds, you have a vehicle that's parked inside of that time where is when all the victims were killed, right? And so then you'd have to find some other information. I don't know what that would be, but the sheath being there even without DNA is a huge win for circumstantial evidence. If that's all there was, the DNA on it just absolutely kills Bryan Kohberger. It's pretty crazy. Let's see. So what do we got here? We got in the wake of the shocking crime, as police search for a suspect, let's see. One of the key sources of information was a surviving roommate, Dylan, who told friends, including a lot, what she saw the night of the murders. It was really through Emily that we learned of what sort of roommate Dylan had gone through. What sort of roommate Dylan had gone through. What? It was really through Emily that we learned of what sort of, okay, Jesus, that's just ridiculous. We learned of what sort of Dylan had gone through, Ward said. It sounded so surreal to them, all because she said he had a black mask and he looked like he was carrying a black vacuum. Oh. See, that's interesting. I don't remember anybody, but if it says that in the book, a black vacuum. So whatever he was carrying was a black object. That's interesting. If that's in the book, and that's really what those girls were told. That wasn't in the Amazon special. But that's kind of interesting, right? A black vacuum. As they're sitting there thinking, who could do this and what on earth has happened? Of Coburger, so that means they were all sitting out there, and that's what Dylan was saying. He had like a black fat. That's kind of interesting. Now, as the families prepare for their next week's sentencing hearing on July 23rd, Patterson and Ward are hoping to give readers a true sense of the four victims. You will meet Ethan and Kaylee and Maddie and Xana, Patterson said. You will meet them and you will feel them as human beings. I mean, I'm not sure what the book has. It's obviously, it's a audio book and it's 10 hours long. The special was like 4 42-minute episodes with, I think it even had commercials. I don't remember now if it had commercials, but so there might be a hell of a lot more in the book. The book is called When the Night, what is it called? When the Night Comes, something like that, or that's not what it's called. I forgot. What's the name of the book again? I had it memorized by using it because it sounds like something else, but now I can't remember what that was. I'll look it up. I got it right here. While Idaho... No, that's not it. Here it is. No, that's not it. I gotta go to my library. What the hell's the name of it? I had it right here, but When the Night Comes Falling? No, that's Howard Blum. The Idaho 4. I guess it's just called The Idaho 4 by James Patterson. Yeah. Yeah, it's just called The Idaho 4. That simple. I just found it right here. Let's see what it sounds like.
Hachette Audio presents The
Idaho 4.
An American Tragedy. Written by James Patterson and Vicky Ward.
When the Night Comes Falling.
Read by
on
Elizabeth
November
Rogers.
13th, 2022. Let me see if I sound like that person. I haven't listened yet.
I couldn't wrap my head around
No.
it. There can't be this kind of...
Alright, anyways. There you go. American Tragedy is the second part of what? Second part of what? Oh, the Idaho 4 American Tragedy. Okay. Alright, well anyways, you guys have anything else you want to talk about tonight? Or, I mean, I could stay on here for another 21 minutes. What do you guys have? But before everybody goes to sleep, I did want to say thanks to, where is it? God, my computer is laggy. Not sure why. There it is. It freezes up sometimes and then it blows out. Using Chrome, there's no particular reason, but thanks to Deborah and Hawk Fan, who did large, a couple super chats there that made up over half of the whole thing. So I want to say thanks to that, and then also I think it was M10 who did a bunch of memberships, and there's a whole bunch of people that were helping a lot. Derek, I said that. All right. Short of the book, kind of curious about it. Yeah. How did you learn of the computer work you do? How did you learn all about all the computer? Well, it's kind of a interesting story. My journey into all this. It's really wild. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you the long version. Yeah, so I graduated from Oregon State in communications, probably the most useless degree. It's weird how now I do use communication, but at the time, it was like rhetoric and communication. And, now it's come back, but at the time it wasn't really. So, how do you get a job right out of college with a kind of degree like that? Right? So I was working in sales at Nordstrom's for, I don't know, 2 years. Or not even, I wasn't working in sales. I was actually a stock person, and then sales during big events. I mean, I was just really struggling. And then after that, I worked at a trucking broker company. Sucked at. That's just absolutely not interesting to me at all. Terrible at that. And then my mom took me aside and said, "Gray, you need a skill that is, that people need." So they put me in, after all those years of college. I went to college for like 6 years. I had 220 something credits. There's probably another degree in there somewhere, if you. Hey, thanks, Millennial. Do you guys want me to tell you this version of the story, or do you want me to? I think it's pretty good, right? And so then they put me into a school called Columbia College of Business. It was really just one of those, like at a mall, I'm not really sure what you call it, just a vocational place. And I went there for microcomputer application specialist. And it was for 6 months. And while I was there, I got A's and everything. I mean, I just took it like this is my last shot. And I learned how to use the computer, Excel. I actually it was Lotus at the time. So it was like Lotus and 10 key, and I already knew how to type, but like keyboarding they had in there. And they just had to go through the whole thing. And after that was over, I was like, okay, I know how to use computers now, to do this. So then I worked at a bank. I got a job at a bank, and then at that bank I was in a collector. But I thought, man, if I get in the bank, maybe. And then after a while, they created a position that was open for everybody, but it was tailored just for me because of all these cool things I was doing on the side, writing macros, running these reports. And so they created a position just for me. And then I worked there for a long time, and then they were like the first salvo in the banking decline, that crazy banking thing that happened. So, that whole bank got shut down. Then I worked at, then I was thinking, oh man, because during the time I was working at the bank, I would also do their, what do you call it, 3D animations for their presentations they were doing, because I learned on my own how to use these little programs. Like one was called Raydream 3D Studio, Bryce 3D, and these other ones. And I was like, oh, do these little cool presentations. So because I was kind of I was a computer guy, so I could do all these things. And like I said, and then after that all got shut down, I went to the. I was still, now I was back in a struggling phase at that point. And so I went to the Art Institute for Animation and Media Arts. That was a 4-year school, but I went there 2 years, and I was on the dean's list the whole time because, again, it was interesting. And then I just decided to go out on my own, and I started a videography company. And that one kind of sucked too, because it was just, doing weddings and slideshows and slideshows of like a birthday party kind of thing. I did do a documentary while I was working there. That one I did pretty well. you know, it was my biggest paying gig. I was down at Smoke Tree Ranch down in California. That's a pretty cool place. But then after that, let's see. So I learned how to do all that. And then after that, I started working in like, what do you call it? I write, it kind of doesn't really have a name, but I write code that goes out for search engine optimization. It goes out and grabs different information from different sites, and then you can sort of determine what keywords people use to get their material up higher, etc. So I was doing that for a long time. I, you know, still do some of that, but then in like 2000 and I think it was 11 or 12, the Jodi Arias case, I don't remember if that was the year or not, but right around that time, the Jodi Arias case was really big. So I made a 3D model of the entire upstairs bedroom, bathroom. I even put the bloody tiles in the hallway, put the bathtub where it was, put the shower where it was, put the, I mean, everything. It looked exactly like it. And I kept doing these animations for people to show them what was really being said. What was weird is Court TV at the time, it was doing these ridiculous, or it was HLN, these ridiculous things in there, you know, pretending, you know, it was just stupid. I had this thing that looked real. So I think today I would have been on that show. I would have this model, we could work through it and do different things and show everybody. I could tell everybody where all the shots were, and then because of that work that I did on that case, this guy that was a elevator like consultant, he told a prosecutor in New York, Brooklyn, that I could make them something for a trial. So I got hired by this Brooklyn prosecutor for 2 different cases. One of them never made it to trial, but the other one did. It was an elevator incident. And I made this whole animation with this lady walking onto the elevator, and then her leg was still sticking up while it was moving, and the door closed, and her leg was dragged up 8 floors through that little gap between the door and the elevator. And she almost died, but it happened to be a hospital where this happened. And I went there to testify. I was supposed to have to say something, but the prosecutor was able to get it so I didn't have to say anything. And just got the video admitted because the defense watched it and goes, yeah, that's, you know, that looks like what happened. And so we won. You know, he got like I think he got 2.5 years in prison, like an assault charge. I mean, just a total idiot. The guy, and turned off the mechanism that makes it so an elevator can't move with the door open. You know, and he didn't put any cones up or anything. You see the elevator on different floors moving around with, you know, it's just ludicrous. But on that floor, it was 1 frame a second. So I went in there to make it a smooth video of 3D characters. It looked pretty good. You know, and then, let's see, that was then. And then I remember making some videos on the McStay case. And I think and then I first started really doing more stuff was the Delphi case in 2017, and then you know, we started doing. Then I did the Kanika Jenkins case was the same year, so I was doing a lot on that one. I mean, I was huge into that case. I actually purchased the entire surveillance footage, and there's all these people, oh, she got killed, and it's just total garbage. I have all the videos. She walked in there and died accidentally in the freezer. And then, you know, I guess as they say, the rest is history. You know, I just keep doing videos and videos. I think probably the best one I ever did, though, was in the case I always forget the name, but the one with the fire camera. That was just crazy. I mean, the fire camera that nobody knew what they were doing. They didn't even know what they were looking at. And I saw it, and I went, oh my God. So I went back earlier, so it was a nighttime shot of this girl driving her car into the water off of it went into the water, but you couldn't really tell what was going on. There was just lights moving around because it was dark. So I thought, well, shit, I'll just get a daylight portion of the same video that's locked in a position, and I overlaid the daylight on top of the darkness, and when you play it in that way, you see the car go right off, and then the light even dim and sink into the water. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. One of the craziest things ever. Yeah, and a lot of stuff I did in the Delphi case was, in the Delphi case, the first 10 days, I, just by publicly available information that was out there and little clips that I could watch and do, I figured out the flow of the crime, which has not changed since then. It's the same flow. I just didn't know exactly where platform, well, each photograph was taken, etc. But by March of that year, we figured out everything, where each photograph was taken, and everything was figured out, and it never changed. And yeah, Kylie Rodney, there you go. Kylie Rodney. I sometimes remember, sometimes don't. So there you go. That was the long form version of the story. And at the Art Institute, I learned how to use 3D Studio Max and things like that. That's what I use now. Unfortunately, I wish I'd learned something else, because I have to pay, it's now up to $1,800 a year for 3D Studio Max. So, you know. There you go. Now, well, I did do some contract work for a prosecutor, so I could do it. I think that other girl that's doing the animations, the look that she has is more like what they use. I can do that look. A look that you could use in court. You have to use generic people. You can't use you couldn't put a balaclava and eyebrows and all that stuff. Yeah, anyways, I think that's it, you guys. Anything else? Yeah, it has been a crazy journey. And then you get these other people who just plop on to YouTube from one of the networks, and they get 1 million people watching every day, 10,000 people, and I still get 300-400. You know, it just really sucks, you know. So I guess it just is what it is, you know. You can't really change how it is out there. They have the whole mechanism behind them pumping the channels, and yeah, her animation was good, but she stole camera angles from my video. Yeah, like 5 shots completely taken from mine. It's really, I mean, I even showed them on the screen. It's just really obvious. And I made my animation in May, and hers came out in just a couple weeks ago. And, you know, it is what it is, right? I mean, nobody cares. Now, let's see. That video only had a nice blanket. I don't know what that means. Yeah, she definitely... well, she definitely did. 100%. That girl doesn't make videos with those kind of camera. She just does a wide shot and then shows stuff happening. All of a sudden, miraculously, there's these shots where you're showing Xana looking out the sliding glass door, wondering why it was open, and then you got the one where... That's just crazy. You know, she should be embarrassed of that. Or at least say, hey, you know, hey, you guys should watch this guy too. He got some of the ideas from, you know, but it's never do it. It definitely isn't something that somebody would just randomly do without, you know, it's obvious. Oh yeah, I did really good in the Trump assassination coverage. I think I did groundbreaking stuff in that one. That's what that guy was saying. That they were just trying to throw that in there, whoever deleted that comment. Yeah, I did some crazy stuff in that. Stabilized video, frame by frame stabilization. Huh? I don't know. Has he been caught yet? The Travis Decker one? Yeah. You saw some of my Delphi. You should have, man, that was like, I made an animation in the Delphi case where when we finally got the real video, we all thought we'd seen it before. It's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. I've been going back to watch all your videos. Well, thanks. Yeah, just what you could. I would just watch my videos. The live streams are 3 hours long. They're just, you know, hanging out, talking about cases, me getting frustrated. Nope. What? The sentencing hearing. Well, thanks, M10. Yeah, that was pretty good though. Those videos. Oh nope, he hasn't been caught. Okay. They called off searching. Man, where do you think he went? He's probably just walking around. He's probably somewhere totally different by now. And thanks, M10. That was nice to say. All right. Anyways, yeah. Well, they haven't been doing the trial, but the case, yeah. I mean, I wanted to do the trial with you guys. Oh, yeah, well, thanks, Happy Chickadee. So anyways, thanks to Richard Watts. These are all the people that supported the channel financially. We have Linda Howe, 1787. Lexi Staff gifted a membership. Bozena Z. Shelly 406, a new member. Then Perfect Tilt, 59 months. That's Timothy Cecil. Wow, that's almost 5 years, Timothy. Jesus. My God. You've gone through hell for 5 years. And then Laura Ann. And then Deborah Holcomb. Laura Ann was the one that got upset because I really literally just couldn't figure out what she was asking specifically. I know it was about the dog, but it wasn't like a specific question. And then Deborah Holcomb, that was the cat eye. So that was really cool. We got us moving forward a little bit there. Then we had Derek Sherman gifted a membership, then M10 gifted 5, then Jason Eaton gifted a membership, then Dixie Hippie, Jay Gover 109, Hawk Fan with the 20, Bud Gray, Derek Sherman again, and I mean Derek Sherman was really helped out a lot tonight. KMTX 78, Hawk Fan again. So like, yeah, I mean there was a few people that really kind of got us there tonight. So Hawk Fan, Derek, and then we had Deborah up there, and then Derek Sherman again, Dixie Hippie, and then Hawk Fan did a 70, which is like, never seen that number before, but like in between a cat eye and a double cat eye. And then Heather gifted 1, and Sandy Shirley gifted 1, and Derek Sherman gifted another 1, and then Cassandra gifted 1, and then I gifted 5 because of you guys. And then Millennial has questions. There you go. Oh, and then on the coffee front, we did get 1 coffee from Mary Tenor, but it was like 5 coffees. So that was cool. And that's it. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being here. I mean, we're just going to keep going over any of the, daily updates. I think once the gag order is lifted, we're going to have a lot of stuff to be talking about. I mean, a lot. you know. And I think videos will come out, you know, out there, and different interviews with different investigators. It's going to be pretty good, I think. Yeah, that's right. The 23rd is the sentencing. I'm not sure. Is the 17th, do you think it'll be streamed, Lisa? I know the meeting is Zoom, but I would imagine they might stream the Zoom meeting on their YouTube channel. I would think. What do you think? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Are they gonna gag the gag order hearing? Yeah. I don't know, Heather. That's what I'm hoping they don't do that. But I know it's a Zoom meeting, but I would think they would stream the Zoom meeting. Because I don't think it's... I guess we can try. Does anybody know what time that is? Yeah. All right. Anyways, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. Finally got to a goal. Was able to give away the 5 memberships. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right. So thanks for being here, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, a threat rejector. I'm a
Hey, Gray, she said 10:30. Gray, she said 10:30.
On a stretcher.
Oh, okay,
You try and
10:30.
play me like an old projector.
You mean like
crime
Heather
sector
said and Lisa
is
said?
my nectar. Professor Gray is
Oh,
gonna
Lisa
give
said it
another
first, and then
lecture.
Heather said, Lisa said it, then Heather... Okay.
Freak connector.
And I'm always gonna be a protector.
Fool deflector.
Wait, yes, that's it?
Interceptor.
And I'm neither the respecter with a vector.
On his pector, with all respect, ya. Just remember, I've a temper fucking check, ya.
I have no agenda. I'm no pretender.
And I'll
Serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya
on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
So you're saying that Lisa said it was at 10:30, right?
No, I said Heather said it was at 10:30.
No, but Heather said that Lisa said it was at 10:30.
Oh, shut up, Gray. I gotta get out of here. Goodbye.
Oh my God! No, I was just explaining it to you. Lisa said it was 10:30, and then Heather said Lisa said it was at 10:30, and then Heather came back on again. Lisa came back on again and said it was at 10:30.
Yeah, we got it already, Gray.
Okay, wow, that's crazy. All right, see you guys later. Be safe out there.